Chapter 3, verse 8 says, finally, all of you, be like-minded, sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. Look at the next passage. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 26. I need someone to celebrate and weep with me. He says, if one part suffers, every part what? Suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part what? Rejoices. Man, when we are in community and we are in group and we're walking in faith, man, when somebody hurts, we all hurt. When somebody rejoices, we all rejoice. I've shared with this in bits and pieces over the years with you, but a couple of years back, for those of you who are new, that the week before we moved into this worship center, God had led us on a long, long journey to get here, and this was the fulfillment of what we felt like God, to get us in a worship center and out of a gym and out of all the other places we had worshiped in, to get us here the week before we moved in here. I was at a deacon's meeting on Wednesday night and got out late, and it was a deacon leadership meeting. And when I got out my phone, picked up my phone, and I received a bunch of missed calls from a brother. So as I walked out, I called him. It was my brother calling to tell me goodbye. He'd struggled for a long, long time. And he was calling to tell me he was going to take his life. I remember leaving the church, driving out of the back, and driving down Stacy Road, talking to him on the phone. I remember going through some things that I thought I was saying the right things, doing the right thing. Then I knew I was saying the wrong things. And, it was just one of those things. But went home, and it was after midnight, and I'm talking to him on the phone, and as I was trying to talk him out of it, I didn't go inside. I just walked up and down my driveway talking to him. Gina walked out and said, "You're okay." She could hear me talking out there, and I just kind of waved her on. And in the conversation, had a lot of ups and downs. But when we hung the phone up, I thought I'd talked him out of it. I thought I'd talked him out of it. When I hung the phone up, I thought about kissing Gina and driving to Houston to see my brother. Then I didn't. That next morning, before I ever talked to my brother again, he took his life. That next week, we moved into here. For those of you that are so gracious, you remember I just sat over there and Dr. Patterson preached. And I can tell you this, going through my mind and going my heart, as I sat over there, I was thinking, I will never preach again. That's what was going in my. You didn't know. But I was done. I was a failure as a brother. I was a failure as a pastor. Didn't drive to Houston. Said some things I shouldn't have said. In some measure, my life just began to do this, and I tried to pretend things were cool. But they weren't cool. Then there was a day when Gina had organized it. One of the members of our church, and he was in the earlier service, drove his truck up, got me in the truck, brought me to another member of our church's house, and walked into a room. There were a bunch of men in there. They said, "Pastor, we sense you're struggling. I want to pray for you. Let it all out." I don't remember one thing I said. But that was kind of a turning point because some men cared. My struggles weren't over. But I look back and think I was in the midst of full decline. Those guys called me, cared for me, and loved me. And my desire as a pastor is that biblically our community would be God's answer to isolation. Because let me tell you, my natural desire and my natural reflection when I'm going through something is to isolate. To get real quiet and real introspective. And here's what I've found in my own life. When I consult my own mind and my own heart and my own head, I don't get good answers. And that's what community is all about. That's why Paul in Romans chapter 12, verse 15 says we need to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn.